Okay, traders, this is going to be a where to next for gold. Okay, we'll have a look and see what the charts are telling us, and yeah, I mean how this might play out early in the week here. Quickly before I do, just want to show you the last video. Have a look on my YouTube, and or if you go to my Discord, and if you haven't accessed Discord, the link to Discord is on my website, anthonyfx.com. This video here is a full tutorial on how to use our buy and sell signals and our strategy to trade gold. This is a really important video if you're manually trading and you're trading prop firm accounts or building your own account. Actually, this was the trade we took today. I ended up closing this one a little bit early. I just wanted to secure profits and wasn't sure whether this was going to take a dive or not. But what we'll do is we'll have a look at this now and let's see what's possible with this heading into the London session today and New York session as well. So I'm just going to take that out and we'll just work on a naked chart. I'm going to throw this one into TradingView as well. So I'm just going to hit publish. Okay, traders, gold. Yeah, this one took off through the Asian session and it's really pushing up. So here's the question. Where is gold heading into the end of the week? There's a few things we need to be mindful of here. Okay, we got the end of this is the last week of the year, heading into the last week of the month. And, we're looking at the close, weekly close, monthly close, yearly close, right? So consider that if we go out, in fact, what I might do is clear some of this. These are some of the trade ideas I've been sending in. Let's take them out. If we go out, have a look at this firstly on the monthly, because I'm looking for a trade opportunity. Let's just go to a candle chart. Looking for a trade opportunity for today. Yeah, I mean, look how this thing's been pushing up, guys. And what I don't get is much of a pullback through here. It's been relentless, okay? But you really need to take notice of this monthly chart right here, this current monthly chart, December. Look at it. Here's the thing. Now, this is looking at a possible trade opportunity and possibly counter trend, okay, heading into the end of the month. Consider this a monthly, a weekly, or even a daily candle, but I'm really more interested in the weekly and the monthly. There's a candle wick. You see how you get between the months, right? Like this month pushes up. You get the high of the month and then it pulls back. The next month opens and then it pulls back again. So you get this double whammy of this, like it reaches the high and it pulls back, okay? And then you get the next month. Okay, so let's just think about the possibility of the end of this month, December. So we reach the high, and I'm going to be looking for possibly a counter trend trade. Now, I talk about the end of the week, the end of the week counter trend trade that we can trade on Fridays. Every Friday, there's a strategy around that, and I've done a video on that. This is going to be end of the week, end of the month, and it's pushing up now. This is Monday, right? So I'm assuming that we get more of a push, and then that happens. Now, December, end of the month, January, okay, the run on liquidity before it moves. I mean, it's in a bullish trend, all right? So I'm going to be really interested in this double whammy, and that range takes you from that high down to that low. I mean, and that could be a really significant move, right? But you got the end of the month and the beginning of the month to kind of consider. Possibly, I'm not predicting anything here, but possibly a counter trend opportunity. All right, so that's something to think seriously about. So, what I tend to do is look at the last month, mark it up. There's the last month's high, the last month low. See how, and also, check how it trades up and then it pulls back. Trades up to the high. Okay, so you get, obviously, you get this expansion and retrace price action. Now, that candle there was pretty full on, right? So just be careful. This is really bullish and it's way overextended. So let's just mark up the previous month. If I go to a weekly, and look, it's really good to have this marked up on your chart grab that, and we're going to go October, November. Okay, let's just grab October. All right, so that's the beginning. We've got November, and then December kicks off. Mark up the high and the low. So this is the high and the low of November into and the beginning of December. See this, how you get the open, the low, and the high, and then down into the close. That's what I'm talking about. That's the candle. Open, low, high, and close. Pull back. We can mark up the current month like so, and just keep that marked up on the chart. Now that could head higher, okay, but we've got the low of the current month. So looking at the range, okay, let's go down now. That's a weekly time frame. We'll go down to the daily, and it's a good idea that you map out the weekly range. All right, we start off beginning of the week, Saturday, Monday. Okay, Monday. Pull that down to the low. See how it opens and then it drops down. And then you got the current weekly high. So you've got the month, the open, it pulls back. The weekly opened here. See how it dropped under? It opens there. In fact, it's a good idea to mark up the current weekly open. Okay, the open was exactly on that spot there. Okay, we're planning a trade here. So that's last week's open. Mark up this week's open. Grab that, and we got Monday. That's this week's open, weekly open. There it is. So notice last week how we got it open, and then it runs liquidity, and then we get the run for the week. Well, last week it ran up to here, and then it pulled back and closed. So now we've got this week. Now what I don't see this week, I don't see the initial run on liquidity at the weekly open. I don't see that. Let's just go to a 4-hour chart. I'm just going to mark this up, something like that. Okay, that's the month so far, and the week so far, last week. Okay, let's just complete that last week there. It's important to do this, guys. It give you a bit of a roadmap. So that's the end of last week right there. So yeah, what I don't see this week is a run under and then the rally. So here you get that candle. So I'm just wondering whether, it's just open and it's pushed straight up. What's it pushing into? See this range here? All right, there's a ton of liquidity built above that. So you want to be really careful at the moment, guys, because it's possible. That's a range where a whole bunch of stops are resting above. It's pushed up. There'll be a lot of traders possibly, short stops above and below it for sure, right? But just be careful because that's pushing up into these stops. Where to from here? Well, it's got to hold here. Let's have a look at it on 1 hour. So there's your weekly open. There's last week's range, weekly low to high. What have I done here, guys? Hang on, I've messed up something. I've totally messed up last week. Bear with me for a second. There you go. And at the moment, this monthly still, well, that's the monthly. Okay, monthly is still running, and then last week completed here, something like that. Okay. Yeah, so this current weekly, and it didn't really pull back, so it ran into the weekly high last week, and it hasn't pulled back. So we've got this now, initial move, straight up. And what's missing for me is, have a look at this, low to high. Okay, it's overextended. So be really, really careful. If you grab a anchored VWAP and you could pull it from this low here, that'll do. Have a look at this. See how extended that is? Right, that's trading. The VWAP is down here. 1, 2, this is 3. We're well and truly over 3 deviations out from VWAP. Now, whenever you see price overextended like that, expect that. I wouldn't be buying into that. I traded this long this morning. I saw the momentum. I entered a trade and I closed it at just over 1 hour just to gain some ground with it, to build a little bit of a buffer in my account. But I'm suspicious of the rest of this at the moment. Okay, it's so overextended. Look at that. I would expect a pullback. I don't really want to be trading it long into the end of the last week, and the last month of the year. Be very wary of this move. Okay, a lot of guys will be thinking, yeah, it's on its way up, and buying. And I mean, look, it could push up a bit higher, but watch out for that. So just a bit of a word of warning. So now if we go back out again, go to the weekly, that's a key level there. Let's go to the daily. Like it's just pushed right through. See these highs over here? There's a liquidity pool resting above. This is external range liquidity if you're into ICT. Above this previous range, look at this range here. This is external range liquidity. You got that high to low. All right, now in a bullish trend, this is targeting, this big money is targeting that. That's what they're targeting. They load up. Now, this is accumulation. Now, there's liquidity resting above this. It's pushed into that really aggressively, okay? It's done a couple of things. One, they've engineered liquidity. See the range here? They've engineered liquidity above this. There could be a lot of people shorting this. Stop losses galore above. So, again, I mean, look, I'm just triple, quadruple warning, guys. Just be super careful. I know a lot of guys are bullish gold at the moment, but I don't trust that move at all. And, yeah, I'm not going to be long into that. Not now, okay? I've had my trade today. I don't even want to look for a pullback and look for continuation, to be honest. It just doesn't make any sense to me to be trading into that at the end of the week and the end of the month and the end of the year, okay? It's a triple whammy. For all I know, it could rally, right? This whole week it could rally. It could end up here somewhere. I'm going to let it go. Right? I've made my decision. What I am interested in is if it breaks structure bearish, possibly, but probably more towards the end of this week. The end of this week's going to be Thursday. Yeah. Today's Monday. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Look, liquidity's going to be really thin. It's a dangerous week to be trading, to be honest. So just watch out for that potential dump. Go down to a 1 hour. I'd probably keep an eye on, just watch this price action. I mean, look, yeah, for all I know, it could head further north, right? Who knows? But at some stage, it either heads up there, but at some stage, it's going to look to break structure and we're going to see it pull back. So I'm interested in where this trend breaks structure, bearish. I'm interested in that. Let's go down to a 30-minute chart. Get a little bit closer to it. That's really dangerous in terms of if you've got any thoughts of going long. Okay, let's just grab a couple of things here. I'm going to go to a 1 hour. Get a couple of tools that I really like. Let's just throw them on the chart and see what it looks like. I'm just wondering if it'll go back that far. I'm just going to grab the volume profile. Anchored volume profile. I'm going to throw it back in here somewhere. All right, so that's the volume profile. See how there's nothing up there, guys. Look, and then this down in here, you see these nodes coming out. This is the first lot around here. All right, that's your first point of support zone, and that's way under this 50%. That's way under. That's around the 61.8 Fibonacci, right? That's under the equilibrium level there. And then you got this other support zone down in here, right? You got this big value area through there. So keep an eye on that. And the other thing you want to keep an eye on is just grab that VWAP and look, just take it. There's a range. There's a low. Well, even there, I mean, you can pull it from there if you like. Okay, VWAP, we're right out there, guys. Well and truly. We are well and truly out there. Some might argue to pull the VWAP a bit closer. Yeah, fair enough. Doesn't make any difference, guys. Look, that's even worse. Okay, you go from this price swing back in here, down in here. Like, I mean, that's valid. That's valid. Yeah, that's fine. There's VWAP. There's where it kind of pulls back into VWAP, and then it's out now. It's overextended. 3 deviations out from VWAP. All right, so that's resistance. Yeah, okay, so I'm looking for this now to break structure and see if we get it pulling back. And if it does, okay, it breaks structure. Yeah, I would expect, definitely down here would be support zone number 1, and at the end of the week, if that's the pullback, and then beginning of January, possibly even further, all right? So just be careful, danger zone. Look for that break of structure. If you want to counter trend trade it, I probably won't be, because it's the end of the year, and it is just not the best time to be trading. It's the most difficult time to trade. Liquidity is super thin, will be. All right, so there's a break of BOS right there. Just mark it up. Okay. That could be an opportunity to sell if it breaks structure. And again, it could push up a little higher and then it takes a dump. But at some stage, I'm expecting it to definitely pull back. You know, wherever it turns around. Here, up further, who knows, right? But mainly talking about this trend here being cracked, okay, and it breaks structure to the downside. Those of you new to trading, well, here's a bullish equivalent of that, right? So you've got the pullback and then it breaks structure bullish. So that's what we're looking for. There's a change of character. There's the first one, and then you get a break of market structure. And then the pullback, and then that's your buy opportunity down in there. So it's the same thing in the other direction, right? For sell. Okay, that is my take on gold. Yeah, be careful. And with that, have a good one. And comment, guys. I really love it when people comment. I try to get back to everyone. Share your thoughts. Are we on the same page? With that, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.